Yo, you're watching the Screaming Fish here, people, and once again, I'm back with another movie review. But this time, we're reviewing a movie that I have been waiting to see since it was first announced, and also since I watched all four of the Bourne films before this movie, and that is obviously Jason Bourne. So, without further ado, let's get into my review of the Bourne film. I said Bourne fan. So, first off, just like to say, I'm a really big Bourne fan. The first three Bourne movies are three of my favourite movies of all time, and I would even go as far as to say that they're even better than pretty much all the Bond films, well, at least the ones I've seen. So, Bourne Legacy, though, it's not great, but at least it proved that there is still a lot of stories to tell in the Bourne universe. So, yeah. Is this film good, though? And is it better than Legacy? And is it the best of the series? Let's find out. So, it's been 10 years since Jason Bourne, played once again by Matt Damon, walked away from the agency that trained him to become a deadly weapon. Hoping to draw him out of the shadows, CIA Director Robert Dewey assigns hacker and counterinsurgency, my bad, expert Heather Lee to find him. Lee suspects that former operative Nikki Parsons is also looking for him. As she begins tracking the duo, Bourne finds himself back in action, battling a sinister network that utilizes terror and technology to maintain unchecked power. So, from an action standpoint, this movie delivers with flying colours. This movie has some of the best action I've seen all year. Not only was every sequence thrilling and exciting, well shot and well choreographed, but it also brought a sense of fear, particularly in the hand-to-hand combat scenes. I'm not going to lie, one scene actually made my heart stop. The car chases are crazy but fun at the same time, and actually, and a lot of the time I kept wondering to myself, how the heck did they manage to film this? And yes, the action is crazy, but kind of fun, but it also had a great deal of realism to it that made it feel more realistic, which is clearly shown in the hand-to-hand combat scenes once again. Not to mention, a lot of this was done practically, along with some jaw-dropping stunts here and there, which in my opinion is a good thing, because when it comes to action films, I'm usually not a big fan of the CGI, particularly when it's used where it isn't needed, and thankfully it seems that director Paul Greengrass recognized this. So, admittedly, I was a bit nervous on how they would handle Jason Bourne himself in this movie, because in Ultimatum, spoiler alert by the way, he sort of remembered everything, but they managed to pull it off once again. Matt Damon, as predicted, gives a brilliant performance as Jason Bourne himself once again, and it was genuinely pleasing to see Matt Damon in the role once again after 9 years. I also really liked Tommy Lee Jones as the big CIA villain. He gave a terrific performance as the character and made a pretty good villain. Vincent Cassel, I think I'm pronouncing that right, was also really great in this movie, and it was actually pretty cool to have Jason Bourne go up against someone who actually has a proper motivation for going after him, because previous villains like assassins or CIA operatives have just been doing it because they're trying to cover for the mistakes they made. But Vincent Cassel's villain actually had a proper motivation and a different reason for actually going after Jason Bourne, which is actually a really unexpected but welcome surprise. And Riz Ahmed, well, he did okay with what he had, but he didn't blow me away, and his character unfortunately wasn't that interesting. Unfortunately, Alicia Vikander as Heather Lee gave the worst performance in this movie. Now, I don't think she's a bad actress, but her performance in this movie came off as really robotic, and there were a lot of shots where she just looked dead bored. However, there were a couple of scenes where she did actually try, which gets her points, but overall it wasn't a very good performance in my opinion, at least. I actually did dig the story quite a lot, and there were some key elements of the story that I really liked, and I also really like the revenge part of the story. It really works well alongside some of it really works well in this movie, alongside some really unexpected events and twists that I really didn't see coming. And I'll even say that this movie works best as a revenge story. However, the side plot of this movie is unfortunately the weakest part of the story, and it is brought up quite a lot. Unfortunately, it basically involves this social network that people are worried about because of privacy, and in all honesty, whenever it came up, I felt like I wasn't watching a Bourne film. Instead, I felt like I was watching a recreation of Facebook. Thankfully, though, it's not focused on a lot in this film, since it is primarily about Jason Bourne himself, seen as he is the titled character. And that, to me, is what I wanted to see, and not Riz Ahmed arguing with Tommy Lee Jones about privacy settings on a social media website. As a whole, though, this is still a really good movie. I had tons of fun watching this movie, and yes, it has its flaws, but overall, it's a really enjoyable experience, and it was great to see Matt Damon return to what is probably his most popular role. This movie did not disappoint me, and it is overall a good movie. Definitely getting it on DVD when it comes out, and I hold high hopes for a sequel, which I'm pretty sure is going to happen. Hopefully. So guys, those are my thoughts on Jason Bourne. Do hope you enjoyed it, and yeah, please don't forget to like, subscribe, and follow me on my Facebook page, and I will indeed see you in the next one. But before I go, what did you think of Jason Bourne? Did you think it was the best of the Bourne films? Did you think it was slightly below, or did you think it was the absolute worst? Personally, I think it's a little too early to say whether or not it's the best or worst of the Matt Damon movies, but I can definitely say that, in my opinion, Jason Bourne is better than Bourne Legacy, but I think, personally, for me, it's a bit too early to say whether or not it's better than the original Bourne trilogy, which is a bit of a stretch, I'm not going to lie. But anyway, thank you for watching, guys, and I will indeed see you in the next one. Goodbye, guys.